known as, continue. That is a painting, actually, I keep calling it a painting, I've got a kind of cognitive block on that, but it's a drawing by an artist called Konrad Martin Metz, which is in the background of this slide that I've got up here. I'm going to be talking in a bit more detail about that artwork in a little bit, but kind of first what I'm going to do is, I'll tell you. But first what I'm going to do is to kind of talk you through the myth, the kind of Greek myth that inspired that artwork, which is called The Death of the Children of Niobe. And what we're going to do while kind of like looking at this artwork and thinking about this myth is we're going to be thinking about how kind of over time myths and kind of folklore and stories like that kind of mutate and transform and change as they are told over the ages, and how in kind of the different ways in which people approach them kind of changes their meaning and changes their context. And also you can tell a totally different story when you tell a myth from a different angle. So kind of one of the things that I want to focus on, and what I kind of wrote in the kind of bio for this this workshop, is to kind of think through the characters in myth that are often a little bit overlooked, who don't get their story told, and try and kind of, through some processes of free drawing and writing exercises, kind of pull out a little bit of a narrative for them and develop a story in some kind of surreal, creative ways. So yeah, I'm going to chat for a little bit, and then, as Becca said, we'll have a little break, and then we'll kind of come back to the drawing and writing exercises. So firstly, I think Becca's got a poll that she's going to share on your screens. I just kind of wanted to know a little bit from you guys who kind of what people's experience is with kind of Greek mythology, where you kind of come to it from. So kind of there's a scale almost here of, have you do you have absolutely no relationship to Greek mythology? Do you know kind of no stories? To kind of, have you learned about it at school but not thought for a while, or you know some famous stories, all the way up to you're a teacher in classics and you're going to tell me everything there is to know about these myths and kind of put me to shame. I would probably put myself a little bit in the kind of middle, in the middle of this, in this kind of list. If you answer this, it will be anonymous, and then we can kind of share it back to the group, so we can kind of get a sense together about who's kind of got what's kind of relationship with this myth. So I'm going to put mine in there. So has everyone managed to kind of answer that now?
Everybody apart from one, so I'll end it in just a few seconds.
Beautiful. Thank you, Becca.
There we go. I can share the results.
Okay, wicked, cool. So we've got like a nice kind of array between us. We've got no one who teaches a degree in classics, which I'm kind of relieved about. And then we've got most people who are kind of in that like middle bracket of knowing some famous stories. And then, yeah, we've got one person who did a degree in classics, which is great. So thank you so much for that. It's kind of nice to know kind of as a crew, because it's hard when we're not in a room together to kind of know where people are at, but it's lovely to kind of hear that. So some people might be familiar with this story, the myth of Niobe, and presumably those people who know the famous stories might not be familiar with this one. This myth is, it's a lesser known myth, and it kind of sits in a kind of bank of stories in Ovid's Metamorphosis that which is the version of the story that I'm going to be telling today. There are so many versions of it. It's kind of been like all of these mythological stories, kind of pulled through time and changed and mutated and transformed in many different kind of ways, and to tell lots of different kind of moral stories, which I think is often the kind of incentive of Greek myths. So the myth of Niobe that kind of leads is the kind of backdrop for the painting we're going to look at, the drawing that we're going to look at shortly. So just to kind of give you the bare bones of this story, so you kind of know where we're sitting when we look at the artwork. Niobe was she was a queen of a very powerful city called Thebes in ancient Greece, and she had lots of kids. She had 7 daughters and 7 sons with her husband, King Amphion, and they were seemingly pretty well liked, like a kind of good king and queen, I believe, in the city of Thebes. But this kind of rupture started happening when a goddess called Leto, so Niobe is a mortal, she's a human queen, and then Leto, she is a goddess of motherhood, and lots of people in the city of Thebes start to worship her and to kind of give offerings and thanks and praise to this goddess. And now what Niobe does, which is this terrible sin, which a lot of the Greek myths kind of warn against, especially told from the perspective of people like Ovid and his kind of male contemporaries, is being boastful or claiming superiority over the gods is a kind of terrible thing to do. Particularly if you're a woman, it turns out. If you're a kind of hero and you're kind of slaying monsters left, right, and center, it's kind of okay. But if you're like, you know, a woman who should be kind of modest and kind of, it's told in the bank of stories in which someone also gets turned into a spider for saying she's a good weaver. So it's kind of like, it's just don't boast if you're a woman is kind of, I think, one of the messages kind of coming through on this myth. But so Niobe claims to be superior to the goddess of motherhood because she has 7 daughters and 7 sons, whereas the goddess of motherhood only has 2 children. She has Apollo and Artemis. Apollo and Artemis happen to be the gods of war, which are not really the people you want to annoy in the god world, if any of them are. And then in classic kind of horrible kind of Greek mythological fashion, there's this kind of massive, in my opinion, overreaction from the goddess Leto, and she sends her children, Apollo and Artemis, to kill all 14 of Niobe's children in punishment for her pride. So this is just a really bleak, obviously very sad story for Niobe, and she, in her grief, in the version, the Ovid Metamorphosis version, there's the kind of clues in the name of the metamorphosis. People are always transforming and changing into kind of other things. And in this story, Niobe, because of the power of her grief, because of the power of this incredible sadness that's kind of bestowed upon her, she is turned into stone. And either it's a divine intervention or it's because of just the power of her grief. And this stone can still be seen on Mount Sipylus in Turkey, which is this image here. And if you kind of look sideways at it, and you can see a kind of profile of a woman, maybe kind of looking down, like casting her eyes down, and supposedly a stream runs from the eyes, and sometimes you can see her still crying. So yeah, this is a very, obviously a really heart-wrenching story, and one which tells a kind of quite stern tale. I just wanted to kind of add in also, because I've told you Ovid's version of the story, just a little fragment from the another lyric poet called Sappho, who some people might be aware of. She was an amazing lyric poet of the kind of ancient period. A lot of her writing and her poetry is being lost over time, sadly. But there are these fragments that remain, and one such fragment is from her story of Niobe, and this is the only thing that she has of this story. that we have of Sappho's of this story. And it says, before they were mothers, Leto and Niobe had been the most devoted of friends, which I think is a very like poignant and powerful little fragment. And I think there's something very magical and strange and beautiful in these like very small little sections of poetry that are left of Sappho's work. And it's just something to kind of bear in mind, these little kind of short poems, which is kind of maybe where we might be going in the poetry, in the kind of creative writing bit of this workshop. But I just want to kind of bring our attention to some characters in this story who don't really have much of a say and don't really have much told about them. And that is the characters of the children themselves, who are kind of given this collective noun of the Neobids. It's a bit of a kind of like, I don't know, that's their collective noun. I think because there's always a different varying amount, and sometimes they have names and sometimes they don't, but they are this group of people who have this thing, this kind of terrible vengeance enacted on them for something that's nothing to do with them, basically. And I wanted us to kind of have a little think about, well, I wanted to kind of think about these characters who are kind of sidelined in these major stories, and kind of what might be in their kind of narrative if we were to kind of dig around and try and find out a little bit more about them. And I find this like a really creatively exciting kind of task, because we have total free rein, so to speak, to kind of pull out a story from these characters, because we don't know very much about them. And I just want to, just in that vein, kind of draw your attention to a few books that I've been kind of thinking about a lot recently, for my own writing and for kind of other projects, whereby the authors are doing this work of looking at the characters who are less well known or less well kind of understood in the kind of classic Greek myths. So we have the kind of the women, the slaves, the monsters, the witches, the people at kind of the sidelines of the myth, who are kind of, who have all this story to tell, but are kind of sidelined because of what's been deemed valuable by kind of the society that is telling the stories. So yeah, I won't go through these kind of in depth, but we've got Circe by Madeline Miller, which is about a witch called Circe, who appears in the Odyssey and also in Jason and the Argonauts. It's a really lovely book, a really great read if anyone is looking for a lovely novel at the minute. Margaret Atwood's The Penelopead, which tells the story of Penelope, who is Odysseus's wife, left behind during the Trojan War. And Anne Carson's autobiography of Red. And this is a very strange, beautiful, weird story told about the one from the perspective of one of the monsters killed by Hercules on one of his labors. And it's sort of like a strange homoerotic fan fiction of his story, kind of told in a 20th century context, but very beautifully, full of lots of really rich kind of references. Anne Carson herself is a classicist. The author of that book is a classicist and a professor and a translator of ancient texts. And she has this really lovely quote that I wanted to kind of bring to people's attention about what the kind of role of the translator is when you're kind of telling a story again. And I kind of think that when I think about translating, I think of, you know, people taking something from one language to another, but also retelling. Like what I've just done when I told you the story of Niobe was a translation of that story. What Conrad Martin Metz's drawing that we're going to shortly look at in depth is a translation of that story. And Anne Carson says that the translator is somebody trying to get in between a body and its shadow. And I think there's probably lots of ways of reading that quote, but the way that I like to think about it is that what we've got is we've got something, and we've got something that we want to make out of it. But when we kind of stand in the middle, we are like casting our shadow also on that thing. So whoever is kind of making a translation or making a story is casting their own kind of experience, their own desires, their own kind of ideas or interests all over that story, and is kind of mutating it and transforming it because of that. And I think that's part of its magic of translation, but it's also where it's a kind of demonstration that there's no such thing as, to me anyway, there's no such thing as kind of like the true core of these stories. They're kind of up to whoever is interpreting them. Okay, so just going to show you now, this is the artwork that kind of inspired this workshop. So here is The Death of the Children of Niobe, the kind of translated version by Konrad Martin Metz. And so this is about, so in size-wise, I was working this out today, it is about 68 centimeters kind of wide and 45 centimeters tall. So if you kind of imagine, if you were looking at this on the wall of the gallery, it's maybe, depending on your screen, kind of double the size of your screen, maybe triple, but it's not a kind of giant kind of artwork that you're being kind of swamped by. It's quite a small, very detailed work in which to kind of look into quite deeply, is my kind of interpretation of it as someone who is not an art historian at all. But I'll just kind of guide you around the scene to some of the characters that we can see. So the first person that I kind of notice when I look at this this drawing is the figure in the top left kind of corner of Apollo. So Leto's, one of Leto's sons, in the act of kind of slaughtering the children of Niobe. So we have this very beautiful, very classic, quite kind of sexy man, kind of astride this cloud. I think he's very kind of like striking and very beautiful and sort of drawn in a way that kind of wants to like pull your attention, to me anyway. And then kind of next to him, I can see his sister, Artemis, who seems to be a little bit more retiring in the way that she is depicted. I don't know what other people think, but from my personal kind of reading of it, of this drawing, she seems to be a little bit set back. And behind her and guiding the bow that she's pointing down at the mortals below is her very scowly, very angry looking mother, Leto. And then if you kind of look back down into the middle of the artwork, we've got these, again, very like beautifully rendered, very well worked, very classical, like neoclassical illustrations of the children. And what I find really fascinating about this is in Metamorphosis and in other texts, it's quite a gory scene. It's not particularly languid and beautiful, but this is a very, to me, quite a beautiful kind of scene with these like very idealized figures. And then if you kind of move your eye up the image into the kind of middle and background, you can kind of make out a number of other figures, kind of less well rendered, who I see as probably other children of Niobe, other Niobids who have maybe been attacked already, but maybe it also could be other figures. It's very hard to kind of tell. But yeah, this is the kind of main characters that we can see in this artwork. I think, I might be wrong, again, this might also be my interpretation, but on the right, I think I can see Niobe herself shielding one of her youngest beneath her. And I think that is who that is, kind of looking over this scene of devastation. So now I've told this kind of terrible story about about the children of Niobe, and kind of a few things about how I'm thinking about translation and kind of transformation as well. And what we're going to do, shortly we'll just have a little pause, a little break, but after I've kind of finished this kind of chat, but we're going to take these take this drawing as a kind of starting point, and we're going to kind of focus on the characters of the children of Niobe, these characters who don't really have a tale told about them much before, other than these kind of artistic impressions. And we're going to use those to pull out a kind of bizarre, potentially surreal, poetic narrative about these characters. And I'm going to guide you guys through that with some kind of free writing and drawing exercises. I'm going to leave this on the screen while we have just a 5-minute break. And if you want to get materials ready, we will just be using some sheets of paper, pens and things to write with. You can have multiple colours if you have them, but that's not essential. And if you have them, a pair of scissors and something to stick with ultimately as well would be really handy. Okay, so it is 5 to 7. So if we just meet back at 7, then we will go from there. And also, if you have any questions or any comments at this point, please feel free to pop them in the chat and we will come to them after the break. everybody, I can't really see everyone because I'm kind of screen sharing. I'm going to try and have a look now. Is everybody sort of back? Maybe I'm still waiting on one person maybe to kind of come back, but maybe I can just chat a little bit and maybe they can hear me. From
Got some thumbs up.
Lots of thumbs up. Cool. Great. We got a interesting question in the chat during the break about whether or not the children are ever named. And yeah, this is something I wasn't sure whether or not to kind of bring up, because it's, again, one of those things where it's so different in different accounts. And I'm definitely not a kind of a proper expert on this stuff, but there is, if you look on the Wikipedia link that I posted that Becca found, there is a list of all of the different names that are in all of the different accounts. So there's hundreds of potential names basically for these characters, and also many different numbers, potential numbers of children. 14 was what Ovid said, but some people say 4, some people say 12, some people, you know, they're not given much specificity is the main kind of thing that I've found kind of across the board. But yeah, if anyone has any more information about them, that would be lovely to know. But I think in many ways it's quite nice that we're kind of doing this exercise with a pretty bare slate in terms of what we kind of know about these characters. So if you have got your kind of pens and paper ready, we're going to start with some pretty kind of brief warm-up tasks. And kind of so you know where we're headed with this kind of exercise, we're going to be doing some writing with some, I'm going to be giving you prompts and then kind of asking you to respond kind of in a free writing way, by which I mean without trying to think too hard about whether or not you're writing the right thing, or whether your writing is good or smart or anything like that. Just kind of trying to let whatever comes to mind kind of go onto the paper. And I'm going to give you very limited time to kind of help with that, because you're only going to have between, for some of the tasks, 30 seconds, for some of the tasks, a few minutes. So we're going to really try and like work on kind of intuitive responses to these prompts that I'm going to give you, with the idea that we're going to be pulling out some kind of really kind of, I don't know, some stuff that's like hidden in this image. But just so you're aware of where we're going to be going, so you kind of don't get lost, when we after we've kind of collected some writing and some drawing from these prompts that I'm going to guide you through, we're then going to take those sheets of paper with that writing on and kind of cut them up with the drawings as well, and kind of reorganize them as a kind of poetic collage. So I've got some, I don't want to show you like to kind of lead you in one direction too far, but this is from another version of this workshop I've done before. These are some of the responses that kind of came about. So just so you know what we're going to be doing, and you don't want to be writing on two sides of a piece of paper, because we're going to be trying to cut them up and kind of reorganize them at the end. And we can we're going to be, as Becca said right at the beginning of the session, there's going to be some space after we've finished the kind of main body of the workshop, so in half an hour. After that, we're going to stop recording and we'll have some space to kind of chat and share for anyone who wants to. So there's no pressure to share anything, and you can just do this totally for you. But if you do want to kind of have a bit of exchange afterwards, there'll be some space to do so. Okay, so is everybody ready with their pens and paper? Great. So the first thing I want you to do is to look at this artwork, kind of look quite closely at it, and kind of focus on the figures in the foreground or in the kind of mid background, also the kind of less defined ones, those characters that we've identified as the children of Niobe, the Neobids. And just first thing I want you to do is to choose one character. So just whoever it is, whichever figure kind of takes your interest, and don't think about it too much. but just choose one now. Okay, so for these first little tasks, I'm only going to give you about 30 seconds per task. So just remember just to write as freely and as loosely as you can. There's no amount that you need to write, even a few words is definitely enough. We're going to just start to try and understand a little bit more about this character from your perspective, from your kind of like being in the middle, casting your shadow over this character kind of perspective. So firstly, I just want you to, going to give you about 30 seconds for this. Just write the 3 words to describe that character, starting now. Okay. So now, again, these are quite quick fire, and I know that can feel a bit to begin with, but don't worry about it too much. Just kind of let whatever comes come. Now, can you write, I'm going to ask a question of your character. I'm going to ask a few. For the first one, again, we're only going to give you 30 seconds. So in the scene in front of us, what can the character that you've chosen see? Okay, now, again, we're going to write really quickly on this one. What can the character that you've chosen hear? Okay, now for this one, I'm going to give you a minute. What is the character that you've chosen thinking? Okay, if you can kind of finish that thought. And again, there's no worries about kind of how much is kind of coming or not coming at this point. We're kind of still kind of trying to develop a little bit this character. So now, if you want to put that to one side and take another fresh sheet of paper, we're going to do what is called a blind contour drawing. And so this is, some of you might be familiar with this. This is when you draw a subject, and for this it's going to be the character that you've chosen, but without looking down once at the paper. So you're going to put your pen or your pencil or whatever it is you're using to draw or write, kind of down on your page. And then for 1 minute, you're going to continuously draw. And it doesn't matter kind of how abstract or strange this kind of turns out. The idea is to kind of make something quite, to kind of have this relationship between your eyes, the character, and create a new sort of transformation of that character onto the page. So I'm going to give you a minute starting now. So do your best not to look down at the page and to keep looking at the screen. And it doesn't matter if it starts to feel very confusing, like you're not quite sure where you are on the page. Okay, so now you can look down and see what you've made. So for some people, this might somehow look like the artwork in front of them, but for a lot of people, I imagine it will look quite abstract, and there might be lots of kind of strange drawing lines kind of going on in that image that you've made. So now what what I'm going to ask you to do is to kind of take that drawing in front of you and have quite a close look at it. I'm going to actually stop showing the image of the artwork now for a minute. So looking at that drawing that you've got in front of you, try and sort of forget a little bit the form that it was following before, and kind of recognize that it has now changed. You've transformed into a very different thing. And in that drawing, I want you to try and write down in a list on either the same piece of paper or another one, depending on what's preferable to you. Sorry, I know there's quite a few sheets. All of the different shapes or objects or creatures or landscapes or anything it is that you might be able to see. I want you to write a list of those things on a piece of paper. So if that's not clear, I can kind of articulate that again. You're kind of looking at that drawing as though you're kind of cloud gazing and trying to see what you can see in it that is not the drawing, that is not the original form that was there. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do this, to just write a little list of everything that you can see. And if your drawing is being a bit stubborn and not giving you stuff, you can always turn it, kind of have a look from another side. This is an example from another workshop. Kind of see what kind of might be kind of coming out of it if you look at it from a different angle. Okay. Have people managed to find at least one thing in their drawing? Has anyone not found anything? Please mention it in the chat, and we can also, if you're really struggling to see anything or your drawing's being stubborn, you can also you can kind of repeat that first exercise that we did, where you look at your drawing and you just write the first 3 words that come to you. So if you haven't managed to kind of, or if the drawing hasn't given you anything, then that's a task you can do to kind of try and generate from it. Okay, so now the next task, we're going to kind of continue this journey of like transformation and shape-shifting. The character, so we're going to go back to looking at this one, this artwork. So follow me on this. The character that you originally chose has now transformed. They have become sort of Ovid's metamorphosis style, so people turning into other things. They have become one of the things on that list that you wrote. So just choose one thing from that list that you wrote of things that you could see in your drawing. And what I'm going to ask you to do, the writing prompt on a piece of paper, is to write, is to describe that transformation. And it might be a really surreal transformation. It might be a very subtle transformation. It might be kind of internal, or it might be external. But we want you to kind of go with your gut on this and not think too hard. I'm going to give you 2.5 minutes to write the answer to this kind of prompt. Let me know if you need more clarification in the chat, and I will be happy to do so. But the 2.5 minutes start now. Yeah, so the prompt is, so I just had a question. So the prompt is, can you please describe the transformation? So you've got one of the words from your list of things you found in the drawing. You've chosen one of those words. So it might be an object, it might be an animal, and you're going to describe the transformation from the character in the drawing, the Martin Metz drawing, into that thing. Does that make sense? Great, thank you. Okay, so if you want to try and finish off that thought or that sentence. We're going to move on to another prompt. Okay, just a couple more before we start the collaging. So now your character, this character, one of the neobids, has gone through this really dramatic shapeshift and has transformed into something totally different. And the next prompt for the next little bit of writing that you're going to have a minute or so to do, in your new form, or in their new form, depending, you might be writing in first person, you might be writing in third person, whatever works for you, or even second person. You might be youing them, that's also fine, whatever comes naturally. So in the new form, what is the character leaving behind them? So that's what is the character leaving behind them, and that's 1.5 minutes, and you can interpret that whatever kind of comes to mind, how you would interpret that. There's many different ways, but now that they're in their new form. Okay, and if you want to just finish that thought, the next question is a similar one. In your new form, or in their new form, what is your character taking with them? Now, yeah, if you want to kind of come to the end of that thought, and the very last prompt that we're going to do, so yeah, just real abandon with this one. I'm going to give you 2 minutes on it. In the new form, or in your new form, after this transformation, what does the character want? So that is, what do they want? What is their kind of desire now? And I'm giving you 2 minutes now. Okay. Have you managed to get something down for that one? Great. Okay. So now your character has gone on this massive journey. You've got this kind of body of material. You've got these bits of writing, which are these fragments of this character's story. And now is what I find the really fun bit, is that you can start to sort of, in this, you're going to take this to yet another form of transformation and change. And you're going to, if you've got scissors, you can start this process of collaging, whereby either on one piece of paper that you already have with the drawing on it, or on a fresh piece of paper, you can start to cut out sections from the fragments of words that you've kind of built up, the kind of little anecdotes or stories. These can be cut up in any way that feels kind of good to you. You could kind of treat it like that fridge magnet game where there's lots of different words and you're trying to tell a story. And kind of thinking about, or kind of just doing this relatively intuitively, thinking about how it looks on the page, what kind of makes sense to you as a kind of meter, and how the words fit together. And if you don't have scissors, that's also fine. You can kind of lift bits of text just by kind of choosing them and then rewriting them around your drawing, or kind of on another bit of kind of paper. And just, yeah, does that, is everyone kind of with me on what this task is? Is there any other questions about how to kind of go about this kind of collaging part? Okay. Maybe, Becca, we could probably put on a little bit of music for 5 minutes while people kind of get on with that task before we kind of round up.